Sprint Saturday, baby. Recording this on Friday night because I really wanted to hit a sprint, and unfortunately tomorrow I will be MIA most of the day, eating hibachi in my friend's backyard, drinking sake me, sake you. Probably too much sake me, sake you. But wanted to make sure we still hit the daily draft. This one will just be, potentially a little cheap considering I am doing it a couple hours in advance. Also, just wanted to test out how the, uploaded video versus live stream works out, but hopefully you guys enjoy it all the same. Let's kick that music off. Get us right as rain. Rhyming accidentally. In terms of what we're gonna target here, where does McCarthy line up for us? Honestly, I also need to pause the music. Let's route it through the headphones so I don't double up the audio on any of you beautiful people. Let's get back to it. The music may not be coming through right now. I'm not entirely sure why. If it isn't, it won't get copyrighted. We'll be fine. I'll talk you through it all, and no need to worry about it. Either way, taking Jefferson first, we do know one thing for sure, and that's the matchups that we are hopefully going to target, which are going to be Pitt, Cincinnati, looking at Miami, Dallas, New York, and Detroit. Easiest one to me is Detroit. Detroit also does actually happen to line up with Pitt, so Miami could be a backdoor thing. More often than not, though, I'm going to let the first two rounds kind of speak to me a little bit, but I don't hate queuing up someone like Pickens, who I know I already like, and plays into the matchup. Same thing with some of those Detroit players. Amon-Ra's certainly not going to be there, but we can keep our eye on JMO and Laporta. Like I said, though, we could end up doing like a sneaky Pitt kind of thing since they play Detroit. Get like one sliver of Detroit and then play into Pitt. We've done lineups somewhat like that before in the past, but we'll mainly just see what pick 23 has in store for us. More likely than not, we will be lined up pretty nice for maybe like Higgins, Tyreek type of thing. I wouldn't hate that at all. We get quite wide on the matchups we want to hone in on, admittedly, but it does set up decently well potentially. Where is Metcalf? 47. We could line up pretty well for that. And I don't have Jettos on anything similar to that. If Bowers is there, we set up very nice for I was going to say a strange Giants stack. Without Neighbors, that is certainly tough, but just take like one of their running backs later and be pretty nicely set up for something like that. I don't think this is a JT or Jacobs lineup. JT won't even be there. But yeah, I don't see this as a Jacobs lineup. I think we are going to go Higgins Reek and be set up for an interesting combo here. We will go... We'll go Tyreek first. One, because, he's the one in his offense. Two, because that, immediately lines up with the the Pitt-Detroit kind of play. Higgins plays into Miami in 16, but apart from that, he does not play into the current plan overtly, I guess. But very happy to take him either way. And then we will hope to go Metcalf into Pickens. Or Metcalf into JMO, maybe JMO into Metcalf. I do worry we may not get JMO, and Metcalf is kind of the priority here to me. Well, actually, no. I lied. JMO would be the priority. Because you need JMO to set up Metcalf even better. And Pickens is certainly not the worst of consolation prizes. JMO off the board, we really are hoping to hit Laporta at 70 to really get the value that we want. Well, honestly, pretty much need Laporta and Montgomery, I think, to really play into this exactly the way we would need. But we'll see how it lines up. A small slip from Tet here. Doesn't really fit into this lineup, but interesting nonetheless. Worthy doesn't really play into this anyway. We'll take Metcalf, be happy about that, and potentially work into Pickens next. Pickens or Flowers would be fine. Could also go Waddle now that we are set up with Pitt, Cincinnati, and could get a Tampa Bay player later. Someone like Egbuka. That's probably the proper play. Lock in a double. Take Tua at... I have not been able to get my stacks past ADP, to be abundantly honest. We'll have to check the board at 122, but we may have to reach on Tua at 122 unless we are adversely incentivized. All right, next pick coming up as I sort through this massive queue I've now built up just to keep all of the teams and players in mind. I very roughly start off by just going by ADP, and then we'll adjust as I get, more time closer to the pick. But for now, we can wait until after this pick to organize further. The biggest thing, we really want David Montgomery at this next pick. Caleb Johnson isn't a horrible, backup or, additional pick. But Monty is the priority. And then I don't think we take Addison with potential suspension on deck. Would love him at like a later pick, but right here I don't think I really want to do it. We probably... Dallas and New York are fairly easy to get into. Can likely just take Aaron Jones, I would think. Yeah, let's do it. Then at our next pick, 95, 98, likely looking at Warren. If Egbuka or Hawkinson are there, we're more than happy to take one of them too. All right, here at pick 95, Egbuka's still on the board. That would be massive. We get him. I expect we'll likely target Warren at the next pick. If he isn't there, I don't really think I want to reach for Andrews or Bateman. I think the better play would maybe just be to take someone like Najee. I've been drafting a little bit too much Najee Harris, though, admittedly. But we'll see. Warren would be much preferred and set up a pretty solid foundation to take someone like Rodgers later. I love Caleb Johnson, but I do think in this first year, Warren will still get a pretty fair amount of run, and we get both of them. I mean, that's awesome. You love to see that. Really liking how this lineup is shaping out so far. In the 120s, I don't think we're taking McCarthy. We do kind of have a pretty open board. Could consider, depending on what's on the board, maybe taking some reaches. We likely will reach on Tua just to guarantee him at 122. I might be a little scarred from my most recent drafts, but that's my tentative plan. I'm considering Charbonnet here simply because he's just a very premium handcuff. Admittedly, we aren't too set up for it, but none of these other running backs, at least in this exact range, are players I'm starved to take. That said, he is already off the board. I don't really think we want to take Drake May. I think we just take Njoku here. Not an abundantly pretty pick, but he did play well with Flacco previously. Could be very great in the early season. Depends, admittedly, how long Flacco, maintains that starting role. But even if he loses it, we do have a matchup with the Steelers in 17, one that we are gearing towards being, at least hopefully, a little bit of a higher total than some people expect. And taking him does open up maybe taking Burden here. I mean, Cleveland does play Chicago, and Burden is a player that I do like a fair bit. And we are admittedly going to be pretty closed out at wide receiver here. We are very, very set at wide receiver. But we are now very much so risking the biscuit with Tua. But there are a fair number of quarterbacks on the board that I hope give us a little bit of cushion so that he makes it back to us. We'll see, though. QBs are flying off the board, man. I'm getting nervous. Oh, God. 5 picks, man. 5 picks. Come on, Tua. Make it home, please. Please. Thank the Lord. The balls of steel have finally paid off, gentlemen. Fuck yeah. All right. I'm thinking Jadon Blue aren't exceptionally well set up for it, but I think that's better than taking Jonnu Smith, and there's potential that he does win over the backfield. And that's the kind of upside we really need at running back right now. All right, my plan here is to take Jalen Wright if he's there. More than happy with that pick. If he's not, I'll likely take Rodgers just to be sure, and because my other picks will likely be reaches. I'm heavily questioning whether Gesicki's the right choice here. But hopefully we don't even have to think about that choice. We'll see, though. Looks like we will. Given that he has no tight ends, it probably is... Nah, but I like Waller later. Yeah. I'm going to punt tight end further down. He can take his pick. I'm going to get my QB too. I think we're just going to take Braylon Allen here. Another premium handcuff. I don't think the differential between Gesicki now or hopefully Waller later is that massive. And we need to fill out the running back room a little bit more. Final three picks on the docket, 191, 194, and 215. We're probably going 1 to 2 tight end. It's dependent on Waller being there. But my thought process is most likely Waller and then like Freiermuth and Ollie Gordon. Waller here is nice, but not really a necessity. If he isn't there, we likely are probably just going to make some weird reaches. I don't really think we can take Calvin Austin. I don't really see the abundancy of upside here given the rest of the wide receiver room. I'll at least move him down to keep him in mind. Flacco's an interesting predicament. Waller is nicer. I don't really trust him, but we're banking on Tua, so we'll see how he plays. Admittedly, but yeah, my soft plan here is to go Freiermuth and then Ollie Gordon with these final picks. I think. I think Muth offers a little bit more upside. And I don't really think Flacco is like an amazing pick for us. So yeah. Planning for Ollie Gordon with the final pick. If Justice Hill's there, I mean, he's great, but I don't expect he will be. All right, let's finish this thing up with Ollie Gordon. That's pretty much it for our draft. Do a quick review. We're heavily reliant on Miami. Have a small little Egbuka bring back. But for the most thing in this sprint, we're focused across the multitude of games. So that Miami Steelers matchup in Week 15 will have to be pretty high scoring. Then we have Higgins for the Week 16 matchup against Miami and Egbuka for 17, hopefully bringing something home. On the Steelers side, play Miami 15, as we just said, into Detroit 16, which we do have Monty for, and then Cleveland, which we have some tiny exposure to with Njoku. Detroit will also play Jefferson, Week 17. Higgins, I don't believe has much of anything else for us. We didn't end up getting into Baltimore. Cleveland does play Chicago in 15, so we have a little bit there. And then just some kind of other stuff worked in and out around here. Dallas does play Minnesota 15 as well, which is a nice little tiny bump. But we are heavily reliant on these two quarterbacks both being healthy and pretty productive, as well as some of these higher ceiling running backs. Lower floor, admittedly. Warren not as much, but the other three just really hitting for us. And honestly, Aaron Jones staying healthy is one of the major factors for this team. But hell of a wide receiver room and some pretty good game stacks. But that's it for today's draft. Let me know if you like live or pre-recorded better, if you have any preference there. And just have an amazing Saturday. Peace out. Appreciate you.